quickly I came to realize that there are people who are doing certain aspects better than I am, more effectively and more efficient than I am. And I do certain things more effectively and efficient. Why don't we work together?
Vuyo, thank you so much for joining CEOwise.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much.
Now, you're the CEO of EntBank,
Yes.
which helps entrepreneurs and companies make business easier, as you put it.
Yes.
How do you do that?
So fundamentally, it's about providing tools and platforms that assist the entrepreneur reach funders, mentors, provide all the business support that they'd require in an easier way. Taking all that admin, paperwork, the slog of doing business away, and basically making it more efficient through technology.
Okay, all right. And you run a system called mySMEtools,
Correct.
which you have 46,000 users on your system. How, in such a short amount of time, did you grow so quickly?
So, mySMEtools as a business administration platform for SMEs, one, it's about creating value. So on the one side, we know that every funder, every bank, effectively every institution where you need money, they need documents, business plan, set of financials, your documents, your company documents, SPE certificates or whatever certificates, for them to make an informed decision, the data around them for them to fund a credible business. So on the one side, we're able to collect that data from the entrepreneur in an easy way and provide it to the funders, also in an easy way, in a quick and easy format that speaks to all their requirements. So I think because of that value that we were able to provide for both parties, it was good for the funders. So we were able to work with people like Barclays Africa and ABSA to grow our system, make it available to SMEs across the continent. So that's one thing. But also I think more importantly for us, hence the mySME, has been this incessant focus on the SME. What do you need? How do we get you to that point where you're fundable or bank ready? So I think by providing that value, we're able to grow, but also we've got many entrepreneurial partners that assist us. People like Ekasi Entrepreneurship Movement that speaks to township entrepreneurs in the country. The hookup dinners in 19 countries. Wow. Doing pitching, business support, mentorship, even to teen entrepreneurs, an organization called Beyond the Lemonade Stand. So fundamentally, our view and our core ethos is also about partnerships. We believe, finding solutions to entrepreneurs is something that we can't do alone, but has to be done in a collective process through partners, organizations, people who are passionate about SMEs.
Yeah, that's true. And I read in a blog that you wrote that South Africa needs a cooperative bank for entrepreneurs, and you started that with EntBank.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So, cooperative structures, fundamentally nothing new. In fact, most of our banks started as cooperative banks. People don't know. Your ABSAs of the world started, from Volkskas. If a lot of the older generation will know, 1947 started as a cooperative bank, to help Afrikaans entrepreneurs save and mobilize capital for their own businesses. So fundamentally, in the philosophy, which has existed even up into the 1800s, in the Netherlands, specifically in the Scandinavian countries, was how do we use our own capital? I am a small business operator, you are a small business operator. We have the same challenges, particularly when it comes to access to finance. How do we work together? Bringing our funding together to be able to, Dan says, hey, I need 100,000. Let our own organization fund you. I understand your pain points. I'm an entrepreneur. You understand my pain points more than anybody else out there. Why not have an entrepreneurial bank that understands your needs, driven by entrepreneurs, for entrepreneurs, owned by entrepreneurs? That was the thinking.
You recently spoke at the Secrets of Scale event from the Matt Brown show where we met, and which is all about scaling your business. But how, I think some entrepreneurs, they need to take on more staff, but they don't have the money to do it. How do we get over that roadblock?
Well, critically, you have to assess your business and also be brutal in that assessment of what you're doing, how you're doing it, because ultimately you may want to scale, but are you ready to scale?
Yeah.
So taking on funding or accessing funding to scale up a business is tricky for two reasons. One, you're incurring now debt in some cases, unless you've got private equity investors, but that comes with own responsibilities and expectations.
Sure.
But either way, there's an obligation around getting money and what you're going to do with it. Are you going to be able to then secure 20 more clients, 30 more clients in a sustainable way?
Yep.
Then do it, by all means. But in most cases, a lot of us want to just scale up, build it, get the staff, and they will come. My view is, if you get the product right, you should have them lining up and have that problem first. Focus on getting the client, servicing the current clients that you have in an easy and that's another thing, effective and efficient way.
Yeah.
So sometimes we also don't look at our business. Can I service my current client in a more effective way, which reduces my costs?
Many entrepreneurs focus too much on profit as opposed to cash flow. Do you think cash flow is the number one focus we should be focusing on?
You're so spot on. I think a lot of us also, we were not brought up in an era, or even the educational system doesn't talk about entrepreneurship at school, varsity level. So the premise of it's all revenue, or profit, revenue, cash flow. Okay, whereas it should be cash flow, revenue, profits. Cash flow, what's in your bank? How much money do you have to pay your staff? How much money is coming in? So we've been of the view that the more entrepreneurs understand cash flow, the more in business they'll be.
Okay.
So you may have, I give an example of a young man who making a turnover of 2 million, gets a tender to supply for 20 million, okay? Doesn't have the stock to fulfill that tender, doesn't understand the financing that is available out there to assist him to buy stock, to then supply that order. But for them, they were only seeing revenue. Got 20 million coming in. Yay, I'm going to be able to build my business. He didn't understand the cash flow implications. So, tangible example that he goes to his supplier for stationery. The terms are 60 days. Right? He's only going to be paid in 120 days. So there's already that cash flow issue that he didn't calculate.
Exactly.
So his payment is only going to come in 120 days. He had luckily negotiated payment terms of 60 days, but there's still that lag, and so his cash flow, there's a period of cash flow where he's not getting money in. Simple fact.
And that's the issue.
That's the issue.
That is the issue. That's the bottom line.
And bottom line, that almost crippled his business, almost went under.
Many businesses try to be the one-stop shop for everything in the industry. And I read a good book called Built to Sell by John Warrillow, where he said, focus on one product and service, perhaps in the beginning, and do that exceptionally well, and you'll succeed. Do you agree with that?
100% agree with that. When I started the business, I wanted to be everything in the SME space. Everything. I said, there's so many problems, I can solve them all.
Okay.
Quickly, I came to realize that there are people who are doing certain aspects better than I am, more effectively and more efficient than I am, and I do certain things more effectively and efficient. Why don't we work together?
Okay.
And so in as we grow, I find myself actually scaling down certain aspects, even of our products. In fact, they call me the butcher in the office. I cut down many things because I want to be a master of something and provide that value. I go back to value for the client. And anything else, I partner. I find people who can do it better, easier, quicker than I do, and then we collectively offer that to the client.